Anyone engaging in rideshare, whether driving for Uber or Lyft, undoubtedly knows the value of keeping your head on a swivel, maintaining conscious awareness of what's going on around you, and how that could indeed save your life. Going to give you a story today of the value of knowing what the hell is going on around your vehicle while driving and being prepared at all times.
Sheriff David Davis says an Uber driver is fortunate to be alive after he was shot while driving on Bloomfield Road. Coroner Leanne Jones says a bullet pierced the man's skull, but it didn't hit his brain.
Now, the Boone County Sheriff's Office is investigating who shot the man. Ashlyn Webb spoke to the sheriff today. Ashlyn joins us in studio to tell us what he had to say.
Yes, the question many have after hearing this news, was the shooting targeted? It happened at 8:30 at night at a busy intersection when many people are still out. The sheriff says they're still investigating to try to answer that question. Meanwhile, people who commute on the west side of town say this is concerning.
We heard several gunshots.
Jocelyn Dumas says she was at home watching a movie with her daughter last night when she heard at least 6 shots. She now believes those shots came from less than a mile away. Bibb County Sheriff's Office says an Uber driver was driving on Bloomfield Road at this intersection at Chamber Road when he was shot in the back of the head while driving.
We don't know if they knew each other. We don't know if this may be a case of some type of road rage or mistaken identity or something.
Investigators say it started near a convenience store on Chambers Road where the Uber driver had just dropped off a ride. A turquoise Mazda M3 began following him. He says the Uber driver let the Mazda pass him, but then the Mazda slowed down, so the Uber driver went around him.
Sort of a leapfrog in a situation where they were passing each other.
Davis says at some point, someone in the Mazda fired shots at the Uber driver, shooting him in the back of the head. They still are investigating whether the shooting was random or targeted.
I go that way to go to Walmart just to, get food for my family. So it's, you have the constant thought, am I a threat?
Just the fact that this happened on a busy intersection, 8:30, a lot of people are still out then. What's your thoughts as sheriff on this?
It's very disappointing, but it seems to be a trend that we're seeing of people that have no conscience and no impulse control with a gun in their hands.
Sheriff Davis says they're looking for a turquoise older model Mazda M3. Davis says the shooter is in his mid-20s, about 5'7", black with shoulder-length dreads. Frank, Lori.
Thank you, Ashlyn. If you have any information on the shooting, you can call the Bibb County Sheriff's Office at 478-751-7500.
You know, my mom used to say a hard head makes for a soft ass. Listen, I'm not trying to make light of it, but thank goodness that this guy's head was hard enough that it actually repelled the bullet. Damn. You see, the law enforcement officials state a lot of folks out here seem to have no conscience, no impulse control with the firearm. Unfortunately, that should ring true to all of us, no matter what market you're in. It's a hell of a lot of shooters out here that don't give a damn about the value of life and will take it at the drop of a hat. Now, in regards to this story, you hear them state that after dropping someone off, sounds like at a convenience store, 7-Eleven of some type, a vehicle began following him after dropping off a passenger. Now, because he has been shot, and it sounds like he has not been interviewed yet, I suppose it's up in the air, listening to the authorities as to whether he knew his attacker or not. But listen to the story. Whereas the person is following him, he slows down and let the other person go past, and then the person slows down and lets him go past. As you've seen, the law enforcement official was referring to it as they were leapfrogging each other. And then you hear a witness nearly a mile away recall how she heard up to 6 gunshots. Folks, it's hard to imagine that this is simply something by coincidence or even a road rage incident. 6 gunshots? That is certainly an attempt to kill someone. Have to look at the car and see where the shots were being fired at, but if one hit him in the back of the head, it's pretty clear that the assailant was certainly trying to take his life. Shout out for his skull being made of stone. Now, in this, though, they talk about 8:30 at night is when this happened. Now, I'm not a fan of riding at night. Certainly the wee hours of the morning, I state it all the time, not a damn thing good happens after midnight. So I don't advise any driver to be on the road at midnight. Nevertheless, in some markets, you folks make better money after hours, so I understand. But the amount of danger you face increased significantly after hours. Nevertheless, this is at 8:30 p.m. in what sounds like a high traffic area. So for someone to do something like this, sounds like they did have some sort of beef. I want to ask you folks, when you are dropping someone off or when you're just engaging in ride sharing, do you pay attention to other vehicles that may be trailing you or something of that nature? A lot of folks think we make a hell of a lot of money. Some folks actually believe, like the taxi service used to, that Uber drivers may carry cash. None of us obviously carry much in cash because all of the transactions are digital. Nevertheless, there are folks who do not know how the business run. And there's no shortage of us that lose our vehicles to being carjacked. So let's ask you, when you're leaving locations after dropping someone off, do you look around and see if anyone's following you? I personally try to be prepared, but I don't take this shit that far. I don't believe that I would have left a convenience store and you're paying attention to what the hell's going on. Now, it's a difference once the person in front of you starts slowing down and you're doing this leapfrogging action that the law enforcement official was talking about. At that point, bust a damn U-turn. Just want to get out the main piece of advice is do not engage in ride sharing. A lot of folks carry firearms nowadays, and as I stated before, following up on this sheriff that said no conscience, no impulse control for folks with guns. People will shoot your ass for little or nothing. I'm doing stories every day about people losing their life for some of the most ridiculous shit. Somebody had a basketball go in somebody's line. Guy rings the wrong doorbell. Someone turns around in the wrong driveway, and people are willing to take that to lethal force. So understand that when we're out there, when you're out driving, avoid road rage incidents at all costs. Understand, you don't know who the hell you're arguing with. You're never going to see them again. So who gives a damn if your ego is affected or his ego is affected? You're never going to see this person again. Do not let this shit escalate to the point where either somebody tries to take your life or hurt you, or you ultimately have to do it to somebody else. It's just not worth all of the legalities and things that comes along with this. Even if you emerge as the winner, it's not worth all of that. Bust a damn U-turn, get the hell away from that driver. If you got to, pull over to the side of the road and stop. Now, obviously, in this case, if a guy is trying to kill your ass, then you need to step on the gas. But I don't know in this case if the driver felt like the assailant was actually trying to kill him, because in my humble opinion, he would have, put his foot down to the gas and took the hell off and got out of there. So it's hard to say. But with the witness stating that she heard a half a dozen gunshots, that doesn't sound like some kind of spur of the moment action. That sounds like someone who had it in for somebody else and had a beef. I mean, after all, Uber and Lyft drivers got ops all the time also. You know what the guy say, I got real ops? For some of you folks who may look at some of the YouTube shorts, well, there's some Uber and Lyft drivers out here that quote unquote have real ops. And I've done stories about plenty of passengers getting in our shit and they have ops literally pursuing them. Did a story of a guy in Chicago that got in the vehicle and his ops pulled up besides the Uber or Lyft, lit the car up, killing the driver. I think the passenger was only struck in the leg or something, but the driver lost his life in that case, where they were trying to get to his passenger and ended up taking the life of the driver. Nevertheless, this is one of those stories that all you can do is really shake your head. I don't know a hell of a lot that any of us could do to prevent this other than keeping your head on a swivel, avoiding road rage incidents at all costs, and simply being willing to do whatever it takes to get away from somebody that means you harm. So always subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.